Discover Hunter Valley wines with a beautiful featured food and wine experience.
Exploring the hero varieties of the Hunter Valley, Semillon, Chardonnay and Shiraz.
Hi, I'm Wendy Laureti.
And I'm Adam.
And we are from Sellers Creek Wines, and we're sitting in our members' lounge.
The Bluegrass Room.
We've curated, we've had not a lifetime, but a decade collaboration with Phil Ryan. And to celebrate this beautiful collaboration, we are featuring his Ryan's Reserve collection, which has been here for quite a while. Phil has decided to retire. God forbid.
Fair enough.
He's been winemaking for 65 years. He's got an amazing amount of awarded wines in his portfolio. And we've been very fortunate to have the Ryan's Reserve collection as one of in our portfolio for 10 years. But what we've curated here for the next month is what, Adam?
It's a tasting flight vertical of 6 iconic wines that he's produced for us. Again, exploring the varieties from the Hunter. So we have Semillon, Chardonnay and Shiraz across 3 flights, paired to beautiful morsels of food that we've carefully selected from Binnorie Dairy.
So this is really a beautiful experience, a time to really celebrate Phil Ryan and his amazing wines. And I can't emphasize enough that this is a last and final release. So if you haven't had an opportunity to come in and have a beautiful members experience or do it. This is the time because these are incredible wines. So we're just going to showcase it because we're lucky.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I know. This is what we do here during the week. So what have we got in front of us at the moment?
So we have a Semillon and a Chardonnay. And we've got a goat's Chevré with Dill to pair with the Semillon and a beautiful triple cream Brie to pair with the Chardonnay.
Yeah, let's get into it, love.
What we should do first is always smell the wines. So get your nose right in there. I
was taught the trick that you always put the glass above your lip too.
Yeah. If to do it properly.
That was news for me. Yum. Okay, let's go.
Let's have a taste. So one thing that we know about Semillons in the Hunter is that they've got that beautiful, bright, zesty, citrusy characteristic, especially when they are so young like this one, being a 22. So for me, I'm getting lots of lemon on the front palate, a little bit of grapefruit, and this nice little lemongrass character on the finish.
It's a great summer wine.
Absolutely.
For me, I think it's lovely. So what are we going to try it with?
Well, we're going to try this one with the goat and dill. So let's have a little taste of the cheese first, and then we'll put the two together. So one of the nice things about this with a little bit of dill in it is that it pairs to that sort of herbaceous lemongrassy characteristic on the back of the Semillon that I was talking about.
I couldn't wait, sorry.
Well, fair enough.
Yum.
It's just so beautiful, light and fluffy.
And if you haven't been to Binnorie Dairy, go there. Sally and her team, Sally's beautiful and her team are amazing. So they're just out at Lovedale. Incredible. Absolutely.
And we're really fortunate that we actually have a lot of their products available for purchase in our cellar door all year round.
So, that's amazing, isn't it? When you put a bit of food with it, it's a whole different...
It completely alters the flavour of the wine.
Different experience, isn't it?
So that's why it's really important when you're doing these sorts of things to try the wines first, appreciate the individual flavours in the wine, and then go through.
And go again.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. Well, wine is the only alcoholic drink made for food.
This is true.
So...
You know what it pairs to, though? Second bottle after the first one.
Perfectly.
So we'll look at the Chardonnay next.
Look at this special stemware too.
Yeah, it's really important to have the right stemware for your wines. So, talking about the aromas and things, 70% of taste comes from the actual, the sense of smell. So with a Chardonnay like this, you want a bigger bowl to really bring out those aromas and draw them up.
And if you remember, you get to drink out of these beautiful glasses all the time. Okay, so now what have we got to pair with that?
So with this one, we have a triple cream Brie.
Yum, yum.
So Chardonnay is much like myself. It's relatively thick and juicy in the middle. So we really want to pair it to something that has a little bit of weight to it.
Okay.
So we use triple cream Brie as opposed to regular Brie. I learnt the other day when we were talking to Sally that the difference between the two of them is that Brie is done with milk, whereas triple cream is done with cream.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So that lovely sort of extra...
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I said. So I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Actually, no, I think I said, what's regular Brie made out of? Milk, obviously.
Nothing's obvious when you just don't know.
No, that's exactly
so always
right.
ask the questions. Never feel embarrassed about that. Okay, so yum.
It's just sits thick on the palate. It's got that beautiful sort of buttery texture to it. And we've had this come up to room temperature as well. So it's really gooey and voluptuous on the palate.
We were talking, or we were talking in one of our upcoming podcasts about temperature of wines. And I think this Chardonnay is probably sitting about 8 degrees now, which is probably the
ideal
perfect,
for it. Yeah.
perfect one.
I mean, I know a lot of people that put ice cubes in their wine, and if that's your way to enjoy it, go for it. But
it just
by
flattens.
having it at this temperature really draws out that lovely aromatic quality.
It's beautiful. That's amazing. I could keep on eating here, but shall we move on to our next two?
Yeah, well, we'll just put it to the side. We can always come back to it.
I think we will be coming back to it. But for our professional show, we will. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you, Deborah. Oh, two more amazing glasses, love.
Bring the knife back. Thank you.
So now what have we got here?
So we're moving into the Shiraz bracket next.
Oh, we got the wine bottles, love.
Now, Wendy, you'll know a little bit more about this than I do. But with the Semillon and the Chardonnay, we had Sylvia, we have Stephanie, we've got Vanessa and Lex. Why do these wines have names?
Well, because Phil loves his family.
Fair enough.
So, and I think it just makes them so much more personable as well. Vanessa, of course, worked here for 20 years with us, and we miss her dearly. So Vanessa's a Shiraz. Both Stephanie and Vanessa planted the vineyard up at Ryan's estate. They picked it before school. So it's just a beautiful family story. So all his wines, I think there's only the one that's not named, which is the Cabernet Shiraz, because he's only got the two daughters. But it's really beautiful that they all features his children and his wife, which is really, really nice.
I'd like someone to name a wine after me. We might get there.
Well, just get there. That's it. Hang around. You never know. There you go.
Yeah. Are you
caught the fly? Yeah. Beautiful. So what have we got here, love?
All right. So we have the two Vanessa Shirazes. So we've got the 22 vintage and the 21 vintage. The 22 is paired with a really lovely Grana Padano, which is a fancy Parmesan, essentially, for people who don't know.
I've got the wrong plate here.
Oh, you do?
Oh, my goodness.
Not yet.
Okay, there we go.
And then we've got a beautiful pork terrine, which is sourced from Mr. Charcuterie, which is by Hungerford Meats in Branxton.
Okay, so we've got the 22 first. Now, is there a reason we've got the 22 before the 21?
Well, being that it's a little bit younger, it's a little bit more vibrant on the palate. So then we'll move into something that's a bit more mature after that. Again, let's just get into it. Let's just taste the wines.
And even though there's only 1 year between them, you still get quite a taste variance.
Well, I think that's a beauty of a boutique winery.
Absolutely.
I think that's the beauty of small batch wine. Like, you really can taste the vintage in the vineyard from one season to the next, and it's variables and what went on in that season.
It's immediate on the nose straight away for me. I mean, 22 was a little bit of a wet year. We had that La Nina coming through, so we had a slightly softer, more Rhone style Shiraz, where it's just that little bit lighter. It's really pretty, but it still has, or both of them still have that really signature sort of Hunter Valley spice. So when we were looking at the pairing, we wanted things that would stand up to a little bit of that sort of pepperiness on the back palate that you would expect from a Hunter. So that lovely sort of harder cheese cuts through a little bit of that spice on the back palate with this one. But because it's that little bit lighter, we didn't want anything that was too dominant. So which is why we're looking at the meat or the...
That's a beautiful pairing. That is a really good pairing. I often struggle, like for myself, I wouldn't think to go cheese. Like I often think, I just go meat. I'm always, but it's fantastic to explore
Which
that
is
with
so
it.
funny because what do you do on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon? Wine and cheese. You just don't think about the immediate pairings, just specific things. But that's fine. We'll take the thought out of it for you.
Grana's such a good pairing. Like
Absolutely.
Cheese,
No. It just cuts through that little bit of that pepper on the finish.
It was yum. Yum, yum.
So the 21, I mean, you can have a look at the color. It's already a little bit darker. So there's a little bit more extraction in
Not
this
sure
one.
we can see that at home,
No,
but yeah,
but we can.
definitely. But
Mm.
that's part of the experience when you come
Yeah.
here, isn't it? We can take you through all of that.
And this is like that big, and when I say big, I mean big for the hunters, so still medium bodied.
Oh, they're quite different, aren't they?
Absolutely. Like to me, this is more of that classic signature style Shiraz that they were producing, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Which is why with this lovely terrain, I find it's got a bit of smokiness to it, which I really like, but I'm a smoked meats kind of guy. And
this has had a bit of American back to 2022 as well, where that's 21 is only French.
perfect. Well, an American oak gives a bolder profile too. So it's got the fat content, it's got that lovely smokiness, and it just draws that characteristic of the barrel out of the wine. And you just see the fruit layer on top of that. So it's sort of like building a tower in your mouth.
They're both different, but they're both delicious in their own right, aren't they? And with that right food pairing, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really...
And they're quite distinct. So it's amazing. But like I said, that's the beauty of a boutique winery.
And that's the best thing about
amazing.
doing a flight like this as well, because you really get to look at the difference of them when they're sitting side by side. If you were to do it in the cellar door and you were just doing one after the other, as we're guiding you, you might pick up that it's subtly different. But here you really see and taste the terroir,
it's
which
amazing.
is lovely.
That's awesome. I'm definitely coming back to this, love.
Yeah, this is lunch.
These glasses.
The design is morsels.
Oh, lunch for us. I'll put these ones down here.
Of course, you won't be flying through it like we are. You'll be sitting in a relaxed, beautiful atmosphere and just enjoying the process and the experience. So probably expect about this experience will probably take around an hour. So if you're booking online, allow yourself at least a good hour.
For sure. And I mean, there's a couple of extra goodies that we're going to throw in for the tasting as well, but you'll find out about that when you come in.
Okay.
All right. So
on to
Cabernet Shiraz. So Cab Shiraz is what I think is the quintessential sort of Australian blend.
It's amazing.
I love to tell this story when we talk about this style of Cabernet being a donut on the palate. So when you taste the Cab, just a straight Cab, you'll notice that it goes around the tongue like that.
Okay.
And then Shiraz is a mid-palated wine, so it plugs the donut hole. So you go from a donut to a big jam-filled donut in the middle.
I love that.
Can you make those bubbles back? Because the camera's trying to zoom in on you.
There, honey?
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, Cab's not a variety that really commonly grows here in the Hunter. So you've sourced this from Langhorne Creek.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Langhorne Creek, we've had a relationship with the Follett family down there for well over 30 years.
You're right.
Beautiful, beautiful family. We typically put that grape into our bluegrass, but we pinched a snippet and blended it in here.
Nice.
With it. So it's just the balance of the Hunter Valley with the Langhorne Creek is quite delicious. Oh, actually, that's not quite right.
No?
But anyway, it's what's it saying here? They're both Langhorne Creek.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, so these are both Langhorne Creek. So
Sorry, guys.
You've got a 60-40 blend on your Cabernet to Shiraz.
Okay.
Both 100% Langhorne Creek fruit.
So this is the Cabernet Shiraz is the only one that's not purely Hunter Valley in the collection. But Phil has done the blending and curated this beautiful wine.
I'm really excited about this because I'm not usually a Cab drinker by itself, but I love the variety blends together. And this one here is a 2018 and this one here is a 2020. So obviously 20 wasn't a particularly great year in the Hunter Valley, but it's
and then 18.
Fantastic.
Hello
around.
We're all over it here.
You wouldn't have thought we'd rehearse this either. All right, the 2020 on this side, the 2018. Hunter wasn't a good year for 2020, but it was a really good year in South Australia. So we're really fortunate to still be able to produce a great wine from that harvest, which is another reason it's important for small producers to source regional fruit out of area. And then this one will have a little bit of age on it. So we've got a beautiful black waxed cheddar and a Hungarian smoked salami.
Okay.
So much like every style of Hungarian cooking, there's a little bit of paprika in this for spice.
Yum, yum, yum. Let's do it.
It's a really robust, powerful blend. This wine.
Whoa.
You're just getting those really beautiful deep cassis and cocoa nib Dutch chocolate sort of flavors.
You can tell that's the Langhorne Creek development is in there. If that's the best way to describe it, I'm no expert.
You're tasting
here,
the terroir from the
yeah,
Hunter to Langhorne Creek, and you
it?
really see the difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
So the cheddar just gives the palate a little bit of a coating, and then the cab just sort of, its tannin hooks into that and just draws it back and cleanses the palate afterwards. So you get that really lovely richness, and the cheddar almost softens the tannin in the wine.
Amazing again. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and you really do taste the difference.
Incredible.
It really alters and impacts the flavors of the wines. We can get into the science of it, but you know, we'd be here for hours and we have to pull bread in, and then there'd be a mind map, and it would just go on forever. So we won't do that. But the I guess fundamental concept is that the wine proteins and the food proteins bind together and elongate on the palate.
And of course, both, you know, these wines just age incredibly well.
Well, that's why I was really excited to have a look at the 18. The 18, because it's got 5-6 years of age on it now. So it's got that little bit of softness. You're going to see that tertiary characteristic coming out in the wine.
It's kind of heading into that prime for me, or me and Frank. We always love that sort of, I think we hit that 7 to 8 year. We just love that.
I either want to drink a red really young, super juicy, really plump, or I want to put it to sleep for ages and then pull it out when it's got that lovely sort of earthy component coming through. And you're really starting to see that on this wine.
If you do sell wines, you have to taste along the way, don't you?
Absolutely, 100%. You've got to buy 6 bottles and you look at them incrementally so you know when to pop that last one. We quite often, when people ask me how long I sell things for, I say 4 minutes, which is from here.
4 minutes. So
it's a long commute. So again, you're seeing that spice, you're seeing that paprika really sort of jump out at you. You've got that little bit of fat marbling through it. And it just, because this one here, the 2018 has a little bit more of a bolder tannin structure. The fattiness again just sort of wraps around that and softens it on the palate, draws it backwards a little bit.
That salami is
so good.
Good.
I'll tell you what, Wendy, just before you jump into that, mix and match. Try that cab with the cheddar, because it'll still do the same sort of thing.
Let me do that. So you wouldn't have you wouldn't recommend a Brie with these then?
No, I think the Brie is just a little too creamy. You want something hard, you want something firm, because you've got that firm structure within the wine,
So structure with structure. Basically.
Absolutely. So again,
yum.
The best part about putting 2 and 2 in front of yourself is that you have the flexibility to switch.
Amazing. Guys, this is, like I said from the beginning, this is our last and final release of our Phil Ryan collection. We have a beautiful tasting experience here every day available throughout the month of February. To celebrate the end of this era, we will then have the ultimate experience, which is our annual winemakers lunch. And at our annual winemakers lunch, we're going to have Phil Ryan as our special guest. He is the ultimate storyteller. He has a memory that is like, I can't tell you. He can tell you about every vintage that he's harvested. He remembers the weather conditions. Anyway, he's a living legend. He has multiple stories to tell. This will be the last time you get to see him in person doing a fantastic thing. It's the 9th of March. Saturday. It will be held in our barrel room. It's a lunchtime experience, and it's a 4-course meal. It's a 4-course meal paired beautifully with the Rhines Reserve collection. So it's a not to be missed experience, really, because this is the last time we're going to have him on board here. So book now. And
so members will be getting your email this afternoon.
Thank you.
Friends of Saddlers also, just make sure you check your inboxes, because with such great experiences, it's going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Can't stress enough though, if you can't make it to that lunch, come in and do this.
Yeah, if you haven't been at Tri-Cellador for a while, come on in. It's a fantastic experience. During the weekends, we have music. We have the food van, which is managed by Matt Diller and his team from the Deck Cafe at Lovedale. So incredible.
You can plan a whole day. You don't have to go anywhere else.
So come in, explore our Hunter Heroes, have an amazing time, have an amazing experience. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Happy Friday. Cheers.
Happy Friday, love. Thanks.
Thanks.